I think now with the technology that we are experiencing in our world and the changes that are occurring, that education is becoming more and more critical and important to the young people leaving our school system. And I think that we are preparing them to enter the workforce with much more skill and talent than they ever had before. So I'm real pleased about the way our school system is working. Our test results are demonstrating that our young people are achieving at a very good rate, and I'm real happy. And I think that that we are preparing them better than we were before, although we've always prepared them well.
You want to make that clear. Thank you very much. And now let's go to our final ceremony tonight, Admiral King High School.
At this time, I'd like to call upon Reverend Charles Howard for invocation.
It is a privilege to be here, and if you saw what was happening yesterday on what we have today, you can tell that I have connections. And with some support from you and a lot of help from my boss, I'm sure our dreams can come true. Let us pray. It is for the hopes and dreams and visions, and it is for guidance and support of our friends, and for everything that you have done to make this day a beautiful one. We thank you, O God. We thank you for each and every young person that is gathered here, and we thank you for the families that have given their best to make this day a promising day for them. We thank you for the schools and for the teachers and everyone in the community that has done their best to make our city a better place for these young people to find and place themselves and accomplish their education. We thank you for all of this. Amen.
Okay, at this time, I would like to call upon our senior vocal quartet to lead us in the Admiral King alma mater.
The values we establish here will make our memories ever dear. Oh, Admiral King, so strong and bold, our endless love can ne'er be told. The light that you created here will be a beacon through each year and bring us always home to sing the glory of our Admiral King.
Okay, class, please be seated. Okay, at this time, I would like to introduce to you some of our guests seated behind me. And I'm asking you to hold your applause until I've introduced all of them. First is Superintendent of Lorain City Schools, Superintendent John Pavick. Mrs. Anderson, member of the Lorain Board of Education. Mr. Siniger, President of the Lorain Board of Education. Reverend Howard of the Emmanuel United Methodist Church. Mr. Rivera, Vice President of the Lorain Board of Education. Mr. Tillich, Counselor, Admiral King. Mr. Beckler, Business Manager. Mr. Kazusko, Vocational Director. Dr. Buford, Director of Pupil Personnel. Dr. Lohr, Director of Labor Relations and Personnel. And Dr. Demian, Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
is a pleasure to welcome all of you here this evening for the Admiral King High School commencement ceremonies of 1986. The focus of our high school has been to create an enthusiasm for scholarship, to stimulate a desire to render service, to promote worthy leadership, and to encourage the development of character in all of the students. This occasion honors those students who have enthusiastically and intensively completed their formal education. This graduation ceremony gives recognition to those young men and women seated before us, and they will be remembered as one of the finest classes to have received their education at Admiral King. They have been characterized as being dedicated, cooperative, and hardworking by many professional and support staff members at the school. These traits, they will find, will be the necessary fiber and strength that is required throughout all of life as they commence upon new challenges that will now lie before them. I am sure you, as well as I, wish them luck as they meet these tasks. Service Plaque and honor graduates. Of all the honors this school can award to its members, none is considered more important than the recognition of being named to either the Admiral King Service Plaque or being recognized as an honor graduate. It is a tradition to have the principal read the list of those seniors in the top 5% of their class in each category at commencement. The Service Plaque. There are numerous opportunities for young people to contribute to the operation of this school during their 4-year high school career. They may earn service points by participation in music, athletics, dramatics, clubs, publications, student council, teachers of office aiding, ushering, concession stand working, etc. Those graduating seniors, who of all members of their class have made the greatest contribution to the school, will now be listed in numerical order ascending to the person who has the most service points. The students will stand as their names are read. I will ask the audience to withhold applause until all Service Plaque Award winners are standing. The Service Award winners are Richard Dukar, Kimberly Taylor, Melissa Kuznar, Michelle Naiman, David Cannon, Janet Hare, Terrence Yarsa, Chris Rabarsik, David Chavez, Regina Solowitz, Lori Walton, Scott Stampko, Leanne Harris, Stephanie Pichelle, and number 1, David Ortenzi. And now to the honor graduates, those scholars who have maintained the highest academic excellence during these 4 years. This is what education is all about. To have reached this high level of achievement, these seniors have made many sacrifices and have exerted much self-discipline, and we congratulate them for their willingness to give so much of themselves. Sharing in this honor certainly are the families of these young people, for they have provided the proper environment within the home so that their children could concentrate on schoolwork. Doubtless mothers and fathers have made some sacrifices of their own as they encourage their sons and daughters to do their very best. We are proud of those pupils whose names have just been read as the ones to be engraved on the service plaque. But we are doubly proud of those outstanding scholars whose names will go on the twin plaque to be displayed in the halls of Admiral King forever. The names of the honor graduates will also be given in numerical order, ascending to the student who ranks number 1 in this year's class. Will you please again withhold your applause until all students are standing? The honor graduates are Lucinda Podmanek, David Ortenzi, Deanna Bartow, John Long, Rebecca Harmon, Amy Tyler, Diane Smith, Tanya Welter, Jennifer Hamola, James Lee, Kenneth Mental, Deborah Bermelis, Larry Marshall. And there is a tie for valedictorian, which will be the first one in the history of Admiral King High School to have tri-valedictorians. And the tri-valedictorians in the 1986 class are John Wong, Beth Popovich, and Christopher McFadden. Please be seated. At this time, I would like to call upon our Superintendent of the Lorain City Schools, Superintendent John Pavick.
Well, thank the Reverend for this fine weather. This represents the third in a series of commencement exercises today. You know, as I looked at the program, it said commencement. The word commence means to begin. You wonder how a beginning could also be an ending. I think the answer is rather simple. Today represents the conclusion of a process that began about 13 years ago, a process called formal education. Throughout that time, these young people worked and they exerted their considerable effort and they studied hard so that they could enjoy this particular moment, the time when they're going to receive a diploma that attests to the fact that they have successfully completed a program of study. And now they're ready to begin a new life, a life as an adult in an adult world. And with this new position, you assume many rights and privileges. But you also assume awesome responsibilities and demands. The fact that you've successfully completed your work and are here attests to the fact that you're ready to accept these responsibilities and to meet these demands. Certainly that's our fervent hope. So take what you've learned and use it as you begin your new life as an equal partner. Use it as you meet the new challenges of life. Now I'm honored to introduce three outstanding students from this graduating class who will speak on the topic that's printed in your program. The first one, Leanne Harris. Leanne is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. John Butler, 2246 Utica Avenue. Leanne is a member of the National Honor Society, Vice President of the Student Council, President of the Senior Ring Committee, co-captain and the most valuable player of the Admiral King softball team. She was also elected to the All-Lorain County softball team and to Who's Who among American high school students. Leanne will be attending Ohio University on a scholarship from Ohio University and the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority to pursue a degree in physical therapy. Leanne Harris.
Graduation, a time for reflection, the impact of our past on our future. What does this graduation mean to us? For some, it is the end of a difficult time. For others, it is perhaps the end of what are to be the happiest days of their lives. For some whose academic achievements have been rather obscure, it may begin the time when the world finally recognizes their true worth. While others who have received the awards and accolades must now learn to give 100% of their time and effort, knowing there will be no special recognition. It will simply be expected of them. Welcome to the real world. The foundation has been laid. From grades K through 12, our teachers and administrators have taught us the fundamentals that will allow us to continue to learn, to teach others, and perhaps to keep this universe intact a little while longer. Our coaches have fortified our natural instinct to compete, and at the same time have shown us that it is possible to compete and to care about the opponent. Our friends and classmates have proven that it is not necessary to defame or destroy another human being in order to achieve our own goals. Our parents and family have made the most important contribution. Long after the last bell every day, and long after the school doors are locked for vacations, parents and family have been relentless and ever vigilant in guiding our lives. Today, the pride they feel is well-deserved, for they have worked as hard as we have to get this far. It is from this foundation of teachers, administrators, the community, our parents, and friends that we build the rest of our lives. It will be the conversations between friends, lessons learned in and out of the classroom that we will look back on so many times in the years to come.
Our second speaker will be Rebecca Harmon. She's the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Harvey Harmon, 2617 West 39th Street. Rebecca has been a consistent member of the honor roll since entering Admiral King. She has been a 4-year band member, including majorette. She is a member of the National Honor Society and received the 1986 Youth and Excellence Award from the Grand Master Ohio Masonic Order. She's also received the 1986 Quota Club Award for service to school and community and was elected to the office of Vice President of Rainbow Girls of Ohio. Rebecca will be entering Miami University in the fall to pursue a degree in mathematics education. Rebecca Harmon.
We are now leaving our sheltered homes and structured lives and moving onward to a world that is waiting for us with opened arms, a world with many opportunities and many different paths for us to take. Some will lead us to a better life than others. As Robert Frost said, 2 roads diverged in the woods, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. This choice is ours. Which road will we take? When we were little, our parents made the decisions for us and helped us to learn the difference between right and wrong. As we progressed in age, so did our ability to make our own decisions. Whether they were right or wrong, they were ours. Our peers, teachers, and relatives who were around us also helped in our decision process. The decisions we make now, in this time of our lives, will most likely decide our outcome, our future, our tomorrows. Ever since we were little, we have looked forward to today. We have strived 13 years so we could sit in these chairs tonight. As this day approached, our remembrances of past days grew. People were saying, remember in 8th grade when or remember our teacher in 1st grade? We all knew it was coming to an end. And while we were excited about graduating, we were saddened by the thought of leaving our friends, and for some, even our families, as we continue on to college or a job. We have high goals for ourselves and great expectations of their outcomes. We want our lives to be happy and prosperous, but we also understand that to achieve these goals and make them become reality, we must work hard and aim for higher than we believe we can achieve, and then put faith in ourselves, as others have put faith in us in the past, to obtain these goals. We are the tomorrow of this world. We have reached our first goal, and now it is time to make new goals, to strive forward and live every day to its fullest. We must not dwell on our mistakes, just work towards fixing them. As we journey down our path of life, we will make mistakes, but everyone does. We just have to be strong and pick ourselves back up and keep going. I would like to leave my class a closing thought, which is an anonymous poem. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you think you win, if you'd like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out in this world, we find that success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battle doesn't always go to the swifter or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can.
Looks like we have all female speakers today. Our third speaker is Cynthia Calabrese. She's a daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Michael Calabrese, 1804 West 38th Street. Cynthia has been involved in student council for 4 years since she's attended the Admiral King High School. In the 11th grade, she served as the student council treasurer and was also involved in tennis. This year, her senior class elected her to serve on the senior committee. Cynthia will attend Kent State University and major in nutrition. Cynthia Calabrese.
I believe this evening, when one cultivates knowledge properly, it becomes wisdom. When one internalizes wisdom, one becomes open-minded. Being open-minded and receptive to new concepts and theories in whatever realm an individual endeavors is not only enlightening to the individual, but betterment for society as a whole. We, as graduates, must not be ignorant of our world. We must not be sheltered by our inhibitions and fears. But we, as young men and women, must persevere to achieve this precious wisdom. Who is wise? He who can learn from every man. Who is strong? He who can control his passion. Who is rich? He who can feel satisfied with his lot. Who is honored? He who honors mankind. These words of knowledge can become wisdom if applied to our lives. When we leave here today, we go our separate ways physically, but not in our goals as young men and women. We as human beings have the unique ability to reason, and reason we must do because the life ahead is not a bed of roses, but even roses have thorns. Although some thorns are sharper than others, the thorns of life will appear and pierce the heart and soul of each individual here this evening. The thorns are attached to the stem, which is of strength, our perseverance and dedication. And the stem holds a beautiful blossom, which is a precious gift of life. Why do we exist? It is in my thoughts this evening that we exist for a purpose. We all have a purpose, a worth. We all have a unique gift or talent. We must endeavor to seek this gift and then cultivate this talent for the betterment of mankind. It instills with me great humility to think of myself as a graduate embarking on a new path of knowledge and wisdom, determination to do good with the knowledge one grasps. When one's deeds are even greater than one's knowledge, the knowledge is effective. When one's knowledge is greater than one's deeds, the knowledge is futile. Life is a precious gift. Life is a continuous changing process in which we endeavor to succeed. Life is filled with continual conflicts and compromises. When we leave here today, we will embark upon a new portion of this life. I hope that we will be a success. We must not rob ourselves of all that we can become. At this time, I would like to present to the community, the Board of Education, Superintendent, and faculty, the class of 1986. Class, please stand.
Will the class please stand? At this time, I would like to call before the mic a graduate of the Admiral King class of 1966 and the Vice President of the Lorain Board of Education, Mr. Eugene Rivera.
Thank you. Please sit down. Muy buenas tardes, señores y señoras. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Lorain Board of Education, I congratulate this beautiful class of 1986. We join you and your families and friends in the celebration of one of the most memorable days in your life. Felicidades. For me, it is a special honor to participate in this commencement, for it was 20 years ago tonight more or less, that I graduated from this marvelous school, the class of 1966. We were 548 strong. We were about to enter a world, like you, of unlimited opportunities and challenges. The student chosen by the faculty told the audience that the diploma we were about to receive was a key of responsibility. She told the class of 1966 that we now had the responsibility to build the kind of community your children want to live in. And so the graduates of Admiral King High School set sail in 1966. The opportunities to become involved in the community were abundant, as we were in the midst of one of the most interesting decades in American history. One need only pick up that particular day's Lorain Journal and read the headlines to know that this was a period of change throughout our society, in our institutions. For one, Lorain County Community College was also celebrating its commencement and preparing to open a brand new campus on Abbey Road in Elyria. And since then, many of us have had the opportunity that we otherwise would not have had attending college. The Midway Mall was a novelty. The Journal ran a story that night describing the new proposed Ted Jacobs store at the mall. The advent of the Midway Mall changed the consumer shopping habits and certainly retail industry in this county. In sports, change was also visible as the major item in the sports page was the merging of the National and American Football Leagues. Also, as a side note, the Cleveland Indians were in first place with a 31-19 record and that night would go to beat the Yankees 2-1 as a present to a graduation class. American paratroopers were battling in the central highlands of Vietnam, the war that caused tremendous amount of change in our outlook on the issue of military involvement around the world. During graduation night 20 years ago, civil rights leaders continued the march across Mississippi in spite of the assassination attempt on the organizer of the march, James F. Meredith. The primary purpose was to increase black participation in elections. Out of such domestic turmoil came some of the most progressive civil rights legislation in this country's history, increasing not only the rights of racial minorities, but also the rights of women, students, senior citizens, the handicapped, and others. That night, by the way, many chuckled when they read in the back pages of the Lorain Journal that in the California primaries, an actor by the name of Ronald Reagan had just won the Republican nomination for governor. If you wanted to go to the movies at the Ohio Theater on Broadway, they offered a double feature, something seldom seen. They were Billy the Kid versus Dracula and Jesse James versus Frankenstein. Today, the class of 1986 will receive the key of responsibility to make changes necessary to improve our society. We expect you to be innovators in whatever profession or occupation you select. We expect you to be leaders who will help bring about peace and prosperity to mankind. I urge you to ask yourselves, what is happening today, graduation night 1986? And please become involved in the advancement and the improvement of this great society. Felicidades a todos los graduados y a sus padres. Once again, on behalf of the Lorain Board of Education, I congratulate you and your parents and wish you success and happiness. Thank you.
I've been reminded also that this ceremony will be broadcast later this week for those of you that want to pick it up then. It's a special moment. Stanley D. Daniel was to have received his diploma with his classmates this evening. The good Lord, however, called him last May 1st. I'm sure Stanley's spirit is with us on this special graduation day. So in Stanley Daniel's honor, may we have a moment of silence.
At this time, would the class, first row, prepare to receive your diplomas? Lorain Amato, Shannon Anderson, Elaine Barris, Diana Bartow, Nicole Bastistelli, Christine Bitz, Kimberly Blazina, Carlin Bodek, Gina Bodnar, Bettina Botcher, Tina Browning, Deborah Vermelis, Cynthia Calabrese, Lori Cataldo, Amy Jo Clark, Madeline Campione, Stacy Daniels, Deborah Doherty, Elaine DeLugas, Angela Dockery, Julianne Driscoll, Felicia Drummond, Christine Duray, Alethea Ferguson, Lori Frankel, Tabitha Friend, Michelle Garcia, Paula Garcia, Catherine Gauze, Brenda Gelder, Gladys Jarina, Christina Galova, Julie Gorman, Camille Greco, Shannon Hall, Fatima Hamza, Janet Hare, Leanne Harris, Felicia Hawthorne, Daphne Henderson, Rebecca Herman, Lisa Hicks, Ann Higgins, Jennifer Hamola, Andrea Huddleston, Christina Intilli, Vita Ivy, Gwendolyn Jackson, Jacqueline Jackson, Yvette Jackson, Kimberly Johnson, Bridget Jones, Jennifer Keating, Diane Kelson, Tina Kilkenny, Sheila Krupp, Ann Kurta, Melissa Kuznar, Yolanda Lee, Kathy Little, Josephine Lopez, Suzanne Lucky, Teresa Lunn, Rebecca Margolis, Anita Marrero, Laura Mavros, Denise McCartney, Susan McCoy, Christine Mishak, Esther Morales, Nelida Morales, Veronica Morris, Victoria Morissette, Cheryl Mosley, Raquel Muck, Michelle Mullins, Yvette Munaz, Kim Newton, Donna Nichols, Michelle Nyman, Darlene Noble, Margaret Noble, Angela Orlando, Jill L. Palazzo, Terry Panzel, Stephanie Pichelle, Elizabeth Bakar, Tina Pelusi, Daisy Perez, Mary Pomeritas, Sandra Plotner, Lucinda Pomenek, Laura Palmgrass, Beth Popovich, Janice Price, Wendy Rains, Roz Ramos, Tamara Reynolds, Christine Riddle, Sandra Rivera, Renee Romansky, Chris Rabarsic, Annette Sanchez, Susan Saunders, Jennifer Savaker, Elizabeth Seabach, Toby Shoemaker, Michelle Sejak, Anita Smith, Betty Smith, Diane Smith, Regina Soloway, Lori Summers, Kimberly Starcher, Deborah Stevens, Kimberly Taylor, Shelley Thomas, Michelle Tomaszewski, Christine Torres, Jennifer Terza, Amy Tyler, Michelle Bedomsky, Lori Walton, Lori Weber, Tanya Welter, Gina West, Nina Wong, Loretta Wood, Karen Zemanek, and those are your lady graduates. Please be seated. Okay, at this time, would the gentlemen, the first row, prepare to receive your diplomas? Raphael Adams, Dale and Dorca, Enrique Arizabalaga, Peter Arroyo, Aaron Atkinson, Stanley Bisconi, Brian Brooks, Skyline Brown, David Cannon, David Carney, James Carter, David Chavez, Eric Chet, Timothy Close, Robert Klotz, Mark Cumberledge, James Daly, Danovich, Marcel Davis, Anthony Demakia, Walter Rabiak, Richard Dukar, Howard Duff, Richard Delemba, Jason Dunlap, Leroy Dunlap, Stephen Dury, Gerald Evans, Ronald Ferris, James Ferguson, Reginald Finch, Joseph Geisel, LeBron Gladden, Joseph Gonzalez, Alton Goshen, Matthew Harder, John Harvey, Leah Hawkins, Kevin Hensley, Timothy Henthorne, Michael Herman, Ollie Higgins, Warren Howard, John Wong, Robert Igo, Donald Zworski, John Jacobetti, Tyrone Jeter, Carl Johnson, Jeffrey Jordan, Mark Kaplan, Eric Knapp, David Kneisel, Leon Knight, Tony Kosak, Kurt Kosh, David Kohler, Robert Costro, Mark Kozoil, Thomas Krutkevich, James Lee, John Long, Bradley Love, Donald Love, Jerry Majessi, Saul Maldonado, David Marsh, Larry Marshall, Matthew Marshall, Agapito Martinez, Frank Massey, John Matakovich, David Matthews, Christopher McFadden, Robert Meister, Wilson Melendez, Kenneth Mental, Donald Miles, Tony Misko, Don Aleska, David Ortenzi, Daniel Ortiz, Jose Ortiz, Rafael Otero, Thomas Peggy, Dean Payne, Robert Klebon, James Riggins, Ryan Romas, Michael Rosa, David Rosso, Ronald Rucker, Jose Santana, James Schwartz, Frank Scott, Jay Septeric, Donald Schulich, Angel Silva, Scott Stamko, Scott Stewart, Joseph Stryker, George Tacos, John Tellaha, Benjamin Torres, Stephen Trifoletti, Thomas Vasquez, Joseph Vitale, Michael Walker, William Washington, James Watling, Maurice Williams, Alonzo Willis, John Witkowski, Michael Wallach, Don Worthen, Timothy Wright, Terrence Yarsa, Daryl Young, Paul Uhas, Thomas Zicki, William Zook. Okay, class, if we can please find our seats. Gentlemen, please be seated. I would now like to call upon class. Could I have your attention, please?
It's not on the schedule for this one.
I'd now like to call upon Reverend Charles Howard for our benediction.
What can I say to keep the momentum going? Let us all stand for the benediction. You have brought us this far, O God. Help these young men and women that they see no limits to what holds for them in the future, that they see no disappointments, and whatever they do, be with them, guide them, protect them. Amen.
our graduation ceremonies for tonight. We hope you've enjoyed our live broadcast from George Daniel Field. We will be rerunning all of the ceremonies from our commencements, Lorain High, Admiral King, and Southview, beginning Wednesday, June 11th at 6:30 p.m., and Thursday and Friday, June 12th and 13th, beginning at 1 p.m. Now, if you're watching this on Friday, this is the last chance you have to watch commencement. Again, I hope you've enjoyed this. Good night.